Hello everyone, this is Jody Shearsand with Kiwi Lane. I'm a creative partner with Kiwi Lane, and I want to do a layout for you today that I did actually gave kits out this past weekend. There's a crop in Germantown, Tennessee, and it's a suburb of Memphis, and it is something called Scrapping for a Cure, and it benefits the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. And it's been held for several years now, maybe 11 years. And it is just a great crop, a wonderful event. And I was a vendor there with Kiwi Lane. And one of the things I gave away to every participant was a layout kit that corresponded with our theme, which was Harry Potter, which you probably can tell. And it was a Harry Potter theme, and which was supposed to be last year's theme, 2020. But of course, you know, it was postponed until this year. So we did our Harry Potter themed crop, and it was so much fun. Just really clever ideas, and we just had a great time. So there were some virtual participants of the crop, and so I wanted to make this video for them to be able to, you know, do their giveaway layout. And also for anybody else that got this layout kit and didn't get a chance to put it together at the crop, you can go ahead and put it together now. If you have some Kiwi Lane templates, if you don't have what we used, which was the sampler set, you could really use any border sets that you have. If you don't have Kiwi Lane stuff, you could probably just kind of follow along and just either just make these straight borders. If you have some Harry Potter paper, I would say, maybe just take this as a sketch and see what you could do, or grab yourself some, Kiwi Lane templates to put something like this together. This is great for Universal pages. If you've gone to Universal and did the Harry Potter parts of that. Great for any kind of Harry Potter birthday parties, a lot of people do. And, it's just a really fun theme. So we're going to put this together. I wanted to show you, though, a couple fun things that I made for the crop. I gave these out to everyone, too. There were about 50 ladies, and I gave each person some emergency chocolate. It says, "Take following a Dementor attack." And this is a free printable from Kiwi Lane. And you can find the QR code for the printable in this card making idea book from Kiwi Lane. I will also put this printable in the notes section under the video. And I used 2 templates from the Enchanted template set. It's an accessory set from Kiwi Lane. I used this awesome banner shape to go around that. The printable does 3 of these. So, so then there was space in between to be able to put this around it. And then I also used the sorcerer's hat from the Enchanted set. And this is kind of a Disney themed set. It's got a little bow. It would be for Minnie Mouse. And it has, let me think what else. It has like fairy wings for Tinkerbell. It's a really awesome set. So it's an accessory set called Enchanted, and that's what I used to make these banner and this sorcerer's hat. And if you can tell, I kind of smushed up the hat to try to make it look, like Dumbledore's hat. Really kind of old and rough around the edges. So this is a really fun thing to make, a fun little favor. And I found it in this card making idea book with Kiwi Lane, and it's got this QR code for the printable, and here's an example of how they did it, how they made those favors, and it just shows other other ideas. Wonderful cards, just fantastic ideas. And there's like a lot of free printables. There's another one, just great ideas, and a lot of like little other things too, home decor and other, not just cards, let's put it that way. So a great asset, and something you might want to pick up with Kiwi Lane. So let's get started on this layout. And strangely enough, you will see that I have two examples, pretty much the same layout, because I thought I was recording when I did this layout. I guess I wasn't, so now we're doing it again. So y'all, this should go great because I did it already once. And let me stand up and make sure that my phone is recording this time. It is, so let's hope this works out. I think I didn't have my phone on Do Not Disturb, so maybe that messed it up. I don't know what happened. But anyway, so here's some of the examples. And oh, I wanted to show you too. Another, my free make and take for the crop was people coming and doing a Harry Potter themed gnome. And then they put this with their, on their name tag. So they kind of decorated their name tag with the theme of the crop. And aren't these cute? These are using the gnomes set. We have a gnomes template set, and I have several of these if anyone would want one. They are part of a Kiwi Club kit, but I have several of these that I bought for this crop. So anyway, fun. I probably am actually going to add this to this page. Use one of these gnomes, you know, either instead of the title or like put him somewhere. I guess maybe let's do this. If I didn't want to use this for that crop to commemorate the crop, which is really what it was made for, that's what this is. It gives information on the crop, and people, you know, we all take pictures, and so I thought maybe groups of gals could put their picture there and then have this to talk about the crop. But if you're doing this and you didn't go to the crop, I think it would be kind of fun maybe to have your little Harry Potter gnome right there. Use that as an embellishment, as a little decoration. So anyway, that'd be a cute idea. So let's go ahead though and do our layout. It's a one-page layout. It's very quick. So let's do that. Let's open up the kit that I put together. And on this one, the background sheet is something, simple stories, I think. We're gonna start by cutting off this little piece. What'd I do with my cutter? That's not something to lose. There it is. All right, let's get rid of this piece here. Y'all may or may not have this same paper. You may have another yellow background, yellowish background. So there's our base page. This kit has "You're a Keeper" is the little title that we're going to use. And here are all of your pieces for borders and your mat for the photo. Okay, here's your burgundy mat. All right. So let's see, and I already cut out the rings. I didn't use the rings accessory set, which we have. I actually used my Creative Memories circle cutter and just cut these out for everyone just to make it quicker and easier. But the rings accessory set is fantastic and gives you this similar shape, or about the same size, I think. And then this is the center that came out of it. But we're gonna do this. This paper, these pieces are from a retired Kiwi Lane set or layout kit called Touch of Magic. The other side is a Halloween theme, and this side is a Harry Potter theme. Now, unfortunately, it's long retired, kind of difficult to get, and I think maybe I have one left, but I was hoarding them because I knew about this crop coming up. So I've had them for a few years because, you know, like I said, we were supposed to have the crop last year, and I don't know why this is such a long piece. I guess some of these pieces were 12.5, so I've got to have to cut this down. But we're going to use the borders from this scrapbooking sampler set number 2. I believe the number 1 set, not sure, it may still be in stock, but it may be out of stock, I'm not sure. $10 for this. Great deal with this little sampling of sets. So if you're new to Kiwi Lane, great way to, you know, to try it out for very little money. So $10 for this, and I'll put my link at underneath the video, so that if you are new to Kiwi Lane, if you want to use that link to go in, create an account and grab yourself one of these sampler sets. I really highly recommend them. So that's what we're going to use. And so we're going to start with this black paper that has his glasses and a lightning bolt and the wand. And I believe if I look at my example here, I used the Abbey Road, which is what's in your sampler. Abbey Road 1B and 1A. I think I used 1B. So we're going to take Abbey Road 1B, and if you don't have Abbey Road, I'd say just grab a border, any regular 12-inch border from Kiwi Lane that you have, and use that. It's okay, it'll look great, even if it's not exactly this border. Okay, let's see here. Okay, and then I'm going to cut off this 1/2-inch piece, because we don't need that. Okay, so that's going to be the top border. Let's go ahead and cut that. If I can see it. Again, it's tough on this dark paper, but I think the other side is just as dark. So sometimes I will trace and cut on the opposite side if it is a lighter pattern or less of a pattern, but that other side is not. So we're going to just cut on this side, and you will use your ink and dauber to go over the edges once you cut it. So you don't need to erase your pencil mark. Your ink will take care of that. The ink also kind of disguises any jagged cuts, I guess. If you didn't, cut as smoothly as you would like, the ink really can help that. And I like to use the Tim Holtz Distress ink. This is Distress Oxide, which is a little more creamy. The Distress ink is what Kiwi Lane sells, the Tim Holtz Vintage Photo. And this is what I probably use the most. But for this layout, I think I'm going to use black. So, whatever you want to use is great. Sometimes I use my other video I just did was a rainbow theme. So on that one, I used all different colors. I have tons of the Distress Oxide and Distress inks. And so I used those on my layout. So really, you can do anything. I love ink colors, so I don't like to just be relegated to black and brown. But for this, I think black is going to be perfect. And then here's Kiwi Lane sponge daubers. And you got your kiwi color there, which are pretty. So we're going to use this dauber and go around the edge of our piece, our border that we cut. And be aware that the ink is not only to cover up your pencil marks and the little bit of an imperfection in your cuts, it also serves to really pop the pieces off of your page. And when you're combining borders and layering, it really makes them separate and just is very pleasing to the eye. So I highly recommend that you would ink your pieces, ink your cut Kiwi Lane borders and accessories and different shapes, because you'll be amazed at the difference of what it does to your layout. So there's our top border, and then now we're going to do part of our bottom borders. This is the paper with the Quidditch goals, and we're going to use Abbey Road 1A. If I can find it here. Abbey Road 1A. Okay, and if you look at our example, I have that paper on the top of this 3-border combination. So it's on the top. So I want my quidditch goals to be the correct side up. Let's see here. So we want to put our border, the straight edge, on the bottom of the piece of paper. So, and you can see that you can make the border as wide or as narrow as you want. And so the way the paper is cut here, I have to move it off of the bottom of the paper a little bit to get this right here not to go off the page, right, or off the paper. So just, you could use scraps. You can modify the width of your borders. You can make them wider or narrow, more narrow. Sometimes partly due to, like, say you're using a scrap, you may need to make the border a little bit more narrow, and you can definitely do that. So let's go ahead and cut this one, the Quidditch goal paper. Then we'll ink it. Then we'll do our 9 3/4 paper, which is hilarious and pretty cool. Great part of the Harry Potter genre, I guess. To get to the Hogwarts school, you have to find the platform 9 3/4, the train platform in London. And I think only kids with, I'm not sure, I don't remember now how it works, but you can kind of walk through a brick wall to get to the platform 9 3/4. Of course, not everyone can find that or could do that. Regular muggles, I think that's what they're called, would not have access to that. So, okay, so there's that border. Let's do our 9 3/4. And again, we want to make sure it's the correct orientation. I'm going to use Abbey Road 1B. Excuse me, that was 1A. This is 1B. And again, this is a really wide border, but we're going to make it more narrow. And that's okay. You'll see what it looks like layered together. All right, so I'm going to draw this. Just take your pencil. So I tried to use every bit of this narrow piece of paper. All right, so cut along our lines here. And again, if I'm going too fast or too slow, the nice thing about these videos on YouTube is that you can stop them and pause, to catch up and rewind it and watch what I said again or watch what I did again. If I'm going too slow for you, then you can just fast forward. It's great. It's really a nice option, a good way to learn and really go at your own pace. So let's ink this one. So see how that black just really gives a neat edge to your pieces. All right. And the middle piece is using another border from the sampler set number 2. You're going to have 2 borders. One is called Cascade Trails 2A and 2B. I'm going to use 2B. It doesn't matter. They're very similarly shaped. And, oh, you know what I did? Wait. Oh, I did that the different way. It's okay. Yeah, that's right. That's good. We're fine. All right, let me show you how to use this fun border. We have several fun borders. And I always recommend people that if you are new to Kiwi Lane and you don't have any borders, I always suggest get, one border set, regular border set, 12 inches, and one fun border set, something similar to Cascade Trails. And I'll show you why. It's kind of a cool thing in that the way I used it, you'll see what it does. There's something called Cascade Trails, Cedar Trails, and Happy Trails. And in this case, you trace both sides of it, all right? On your regular borders with the straight edges, you just really trace one, just this edge. You wouldn't trace that edge. So that's how it works. So let's go ahead and cut our cascade trails. But I highly recommend at least one of the trails fun borders to be used with at least one of the regular 12-inch border sets. There's several. And then we have some new ones coming out on May 6th. We have our new quarterly release coming out. And there's something called Fancy Frills that corresponds with some of these borders, and it just gives a decorative edge to the borders. We currently have something in our shop on the website called Funky Frills, and it is really neat. So maybe write that down and check that out on the website, Funky Frills. A very neat addition to sort of spruce up or give another little additive to your borders, the look of your borders. So it's very neat. I'll try to grab those out here from my kit or from my Kiwi Lane storage box, and I'll show you what Funky Frills looks like. And then Fancy Frills is coming out. We just had a pre-release party last night, and so if you go to the Facebook page, Kiwi Lane Designs Facebook page, you should be able to see that recording that shows the new products coming out in, I guess it's next week now. So there is that is done. Let me just show you Funky Frills, so before I forget. Funky Frills, let's see here. This is Funky Frills. It's really, really neat. Check this out. You layer these with specific borders, and you can do them really with any border, but they do layer perfectly with, like, this is Paisley Place. Look at this cool, you know, I guess zigzag teeth-looking border. Dinosaur-ish, dragon-ish, I guess. See how those go together? 1A, 1B. So just lots of things you could use this for. Then there's two that are scallops, cute little scallops that, oh, you know, well, this is with a different Abbey Road, but you would do something like this. You would do your regular border, and then you would do a corresponding, a complementary piece of paper with your Funky Frills. Let me just show you real quick. The Abbey Road, let's see here, with your Abbey Road 3B is what it says, 3A, 3B is what that works with. Let's see here, that's 2, 3A. Really a fun look. Let me just show you real quick here. You can get caught up if you're running a little behind. Check this out. So these frills, Funky Frills, and then the new Fancy Frills. Look at what it does here. You've got your Abbey Road 3A, and look how it layers perfectly. Very, very fun idea. So that's something new that Kiwi Lane has come up with. I'll move those out of the way, and we will put together our page. We have most everything cut out. The only other thing we might want to do here is let's ink our other pieces. You know, actually, let's cut out our title, You're a Keeper. And I use something called Tiny Notations. It is an awesome, awesome set. It's a tiny accessory. It's $11, and it is, get this, a last chance item. In that means it's going to be retired. So you're not going to be able to get it at some point. Once it sells out, it's gone. They're not going to reorder it. This is Tiny Notations. Love it. I mean, people overlook this one, but it's ended up being one of the most usable sets that I have. If you can see, there's a banner shape here, kind of a banner there. Really neat scroll looking banner. that I use those with card sentiments all the time. I stamp my sentiments on paper. I have them far enough apart where I can lay down these templates, and it's wonderful. And I love this medallion shape, this shield shape, just great. And so I would highly recommend getting tiny notations, especially since it's going to be gone. It's going to be a retired item soon. But this is one of them. This is 6T. And you can, of course, see through the templates. So you can see where to place it over your title or your sentiment. So we're going to cut this one out. In your kits, you may have this option. Life holds special magic for those who dare to dream. And this was actually really appropriate for the crop because they're definitely dreaming for a cure for cystic fibrosis. And the foundation just raises a lot of money and has been able to, at the very least, find wonderful treatments for the disease. Now, they haven't found a cure yet, but the treatments and the medicine, the pharmaceutical side of it has really changed people's lives and has really extended their life expectancy. And so, raising money for the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation is just a really good cause, because that is just a horrible, horrible disease. So here we go. So we've got our title. So you could do either this one with your tiny notations, or the other one I used the cauldron a la carte on the other title. And then I used some vellum, a little sheet of vellum, and look at this center part. You see how that looks like a fire? Or it could be, if you use vellum, look like, the steam coming out of a cauldron. So kind of cool, kind of a neat way to use a different, a template for a different purpose. So there's that. And this is $3, I think, and I think the deer is $3 a la carte. So that means they just come on their own. They're not a part of a set. And then let's ink up our Quidditch goal here. I really like to ink up all my pieces. Sometimes at the end, I will even ink around the layout, around the 12 by 12 piece of paper to finish it off and just have that cohesive look. Sometimes you might want it to look sort of antique-y. Sometimes you wouldn't, so it just depends. It's really varied. And so you see how I'm inking, kind of just going against the grain of it. You can go like that as well, but I tend to kind of like doing the other way. But here's this way too. So you just have however you want to do it. But again, don't spend time erasing your pencil marks. That just takes time and really isn't necessary if you are inking your pieces. This is the inside of that. We're gonna use the gray side. Okay, and we're gonna ink this. This is only going to be only so long. It's not going to be as long as the page, so I'm going to cut this a little bit before I ink it up. Just make sure you don't cut it down too far to where it's not going to match up with the bottom of your circle. And I'm going to tell you to put the circle down first. Once we get our borders on, we will put our circle first, and then we'll put this second. I found that out, that I put this down first and then tried to center it with the circle, and then the circle went off the page. So I didn't have this set, in the right place. So put your circle down first. All right, got that done. And then I like to even ink my mats. So totally up to you, but again, kind of just has a cohesive look to the layout. And this is the last piece. fussy cut around, if you have the kit, if you were at the crop, fussy cut around this little info sheet, and it will talk about the scrapping for a cure and when it was and some details about it. If you're going to do your layout to be a commemoration of the crop with maybe a picture of you and your friends, your other ladies cropping with you, or just with you too. That's what the one photo and the photo mat is really kind of meant to be. But you could use this layout for Universal photos, where the Harry Potter part of Universal, which is probably what I'm going to do. Actually, I probably am not going to adhere this. I'm going to use, because I have 3 of these now. I did, you know, one that I had as an example for the crop, and then I just did another one a few minutes ago, and then realized that my phone was not recording. So we are doing it again. And so I'm going to have all these pages, these similar pages, but I have 2 daughters, so one will be in her book, and one will be in one's book, and one will be in the other. So really, it's fine. All right, so there's all of our pieces inked up, cut and inked up. We're going to lay these out. So get your adhesive, and we're going to put down. On the other side of this is a Halloween theme on this border, or this paper kit. I think I have one left of them, but they're pretty much gone. I don't know. There may be some creative partners who still have some in their stash, but this is probably I'm about out of them. I was hoarding these paper kits because I knew about this crop coming up, and so it's been great. We're going to put this down on the bottom here, the 9 3/4. But yeah, I really had a lot of these kits to be able to make up these page kits. And so, but it's a great paper kit. Touch of Magic is the name of it. If you come across it, anybody has it. So what I'm doing is I'm putting these 2 borders with their straight edges together, okay? You can also layer them. You could layer, where's one here as an example? Hold on. Say this is our other, we could use this other piece. You can also do this. You could like layer, you could layer them like that, where you wouldn't put the straight edges together. You'd kind of do that. So tons of options for your borders and how you use them. You can change the orientation. You could flip it upside down and you'll get another look. So kind of neat. All right, so I might have, let's see if I did. Okay, so if you leave a gap between the 2, you want to make sure it's not so big that you can't cover up that background paper with your fun border, and it looks like I'm okay. And the reason I do that sometimes, that I don't put them exactly together, is I like to be able to see these papers a little more. So if you separate them, this is not covering up quite as much of these other borders, okay? So that's why I did that, but you can't go too far apart, because this isn't going to cover up this yellow, which would look kind of weird. So let's go ahead and get this Cascade Trails over this seam, kind of decorate it a little bit. Gonna have to MacGyver it slightly here okay. So there's your bottom part of the layout. We are going to put our Quidditch, the circle of the Quidditch goal, on first, like I mentioned. Let's do that. So we're gonna do, and this has got some writing on it, so I'm gonna try to keep it sort of where you can see the writing. And let's take the pole or whatever, and it is gonna go like this. So looks like I need to cut it down some, so put it underneath there. I have it going all the way to the bottom, so we want to have it sort of centered. So I'm going to mark right here where I want to make sure I cut it slightly under that, and it'll be tucked under the bottom of the circle. And the circle, again, I used Creative Memory circle cutter to cut it, but we have a rings accessory set that really works perfectly for this too, but just for ease and quickness, I cut these for the kits. It took some time, but chose to do that. And where's our circle? Okay, y'all, we got our circle here, and I think I'm gonna put down the mat first. Sometimes I like to kind of put the mat, tuck it under the borders, or having it overlap over the borders, or have it be under one of the elements. So just realize you can kind of do that. Sometimes I like to have that happen because it ties everything together. It's not just kind of sitting out there on its own. But again, it's just personal preference. I'm gonna move that over a little bit so we have plenty of the mat showing. Let's see here. Right, so that's just gonna cover up a little bit up there. So let's adhere our circle. Just a little bit of a background. Again, wouldn't have to use that, but I think it just looks nice. Okay, I'm gonna do your keeper, and I'm gonna pop it up with some dimensional tape. One of my favorite things to do. I really use a lot of this stuff. I like dimension, I've decided. Okay, here we go. We've got a kitty that's gonna come over here, I think, and make an appearance. Hello, my dear. Yeah, what do you think? What's going on? What am I doing? Okay, so I'd hear your title. I guess I got mine off a little bit. I didn't get that as centered as I would have liked. Miss, you're gonna have to move, dear. Okay, so there's that. And, but it's fine. Let's see. So I think our last thing to do, again, if you had this in your kit, use the cauldron around it, and just make yourself some wispy looking steam coming out of it. I used vellum, wouldn't have to be vellum. And Miss, you need to move, honey. Okay. That is Piper, and she has a sister named Phoebe. Well, Phoebe does come up here somewhat, sometimes. They both do. But we just had Piper make a visit today. All right, and so now I'm gonna put, this is our last thing. So, and again, you don't have to put this down. In fact, I'm probably not gonna put it down because I'm gonna use this for some Harry Potter photos from our Universal trip. But that is your layout. So quick one-page layout using the sampler set number 2 and tiny notations and rings. Again, I use something else, but you could use rings to make that. All right, everyone. Thank you so very much. Glad that you joined me. Oh, and like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Kind of getting new at this, so I forgot to mention that. But if you would and make comments, that would be wonderful. Thank you.